Hi class, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the factor label method to do unit conversions when they're non-metric units. When you have metric units, converting units is just a matter of moving the decimal point the right number of spaces. I addressed that in one of my earlier videos. However, the factor label method works for any kind of units, including American units that are not based off of powers of 10. Here are two examples of problems that could be solved using the factor label method. The first problem says convert 26.2 miles into feet, and it reminds you that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So the first step here, when we begin, is we know that we've got 26.2 miles. To use the factor label method, we have to multiply this by a fraction. On the fraction, we want to cancel out the units we don't want and leave ourselves with the units that we do want. So we have miles, but we want to change miles into feet. So since miles here is on top of a fraction, to get rid of it, we will put it on the bottom of the next one. And then we want to leave ourselves with feet. So to make this factor label method work, we have to have the top and bottom values in this fraction as equal amounts. So this reminds us that 1 mile is exactly 5,280 feet. So we take our calculator and we multiply 26.2 by 5,280. Now with my calculator here, it says 138,336. I could write that down, but we have to also pay attention to significant figures. Now, if we look up here, 26.2 miles has only 3 significant figures, right? It's give or take 1/10 of a mile. Now, this conversion factor is exact. 1 mile is exactly 5,280 feet. Most conversion factors are. So what that means is however many sig figs you start with in your original measurement is how many you should end with in your final measurement. So we have to take our answer here and round to the correct number of sig figs. So since we start with 3 sig figs, we need to end with 3 sig figs. So that would give us 138,000. All right, so we go miles, the miles cancel out, and that leaves us with the feet. Very good, so that's our first example. Let's try the next one. It says convert 44.0 feet per second into feet per minute. So, once again, right, we've got feet on top, seconds on bottom. Now we want to get rid of the seconds and change the seconds into minutes. So when we multiply by a fraction, we've got seconds on the bottom to begin with. So we should put seconds on the top so that these cancel each other out. And then we change seconds into minutes. We also need the top and bottom values to be equal to each other. So we know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So now we take our calculator and we multiply 44.0 by 60. And when we do that, our calculator says 2,640. Now 44.0 has 3 significant figures. Remember, this 0 is significant because it's a 0 after the decimal point that would not be needed to account for a place value. So that means we need to round our answer to 3 significant figures, which turns out is pretty straightforward, just 2,640. All right, you'll notice that we got seconds on the bottom here and on top there. So the seconds cancel out, leaving minutes on the bottom. So that's how you use the factor label method. Remember to set up a fraction, cancel out the units you don't want, leave the units you do want, make sure the bottom and top of this fraction are equal amounts, and then after you put it into your calculator, remember to round your answer to the correct number of significant figures, specifically the number of significant figures in your original measurement. Now, one last note. Some students will look at this and say that 60 and 1 each only have 1 significant figure. Well, that's technically true. But remember that this is defined exactly. 1 minute is exactly 60 seconds. There's no uncertainty in how many seconds are on a minute. So even though we don't really write it this way, the truth is we actually know each of those to an infinite number of significant figures. Those are exact values. So it's always the number of significant figures in your original measurement that should match the number in your converted value. Hope this all helps, and you guys have a great day.